Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships, BKFC, is a growing pro combat sports fighting genre which is growing rapidly. Helping with that growth is former UFC fighter and multi-talented performer Paige VanZant. You've seen her as a tough warrior in the octagon. You've also seen her dancing as a runner-up on ABC's Dancing with the Stars, cooking as a chopped celeb champion on Food Network, modeling, writing books and commercials, riding dirt bikes, hunting, fishing, shooting. What more can 12-gauge Paige do? Well, the 27-year-old fighter is gearing for her next fight with Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships. It's her second fight, and it's Friday, July 23rd, BKFC 19 from the Florida State Fairgrounds in Tampa via FITE TV. Thank you, Paige. You're fighting another former UFC fighter, Rachael Ostovich, who you beat in UFC. What are your thoughts about this big bout coming up?
Yeah, of course. I'm really excited about the fight, especially fighting a fellow UFC fighter. I already have a win over Rachael Ostovich in the UFC by way of armbar, but now I'm coming in to show off my striking and show off all the hard work I've been doing since leaving the UFC. So I'm coming for the knockout this time.
How is preparation different? So for a Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship battle compared to that UFC battle with her?
Yeah, the preparation is very different. You know, with mixed martial arts, it's MMA. You have to focus on every aspect of training. You have to do MMA, grappling, Muay Thai, wrestling, boxing. It's really a lot more elements. So I would say in MMA, you have to be really good at everything, whereas boxing, you have to be great at one thing. So it's been, breaking things down, starting over from scratch, really utilizing just one aspect of my fight game and trying to perfect it. And I feel like I really am on that path to really perfecting my striking, especially I switched up my coaching staff. I'm with Pedro Diaz out here in Miami, and he's a legendary boxing coach, and I'm just really confident with how far he's, helped me to grow so far in my training.
Now VanZant versus Ostovich is the main event. Paige, does it mean more to you as a main eventer on a card?
No, it doesn't. And I mean, of course, I love that Bare Knuckle is really utilizing me and embracing me, and I love that I'm a big part of their organization, but at the same time, it doesn't change how hard I work. I work just as hard, and I put just the same amount of pressure on myself if I was the first fight of the night or the last fight of the night. It makes no difference. It's the same level of nerves, the same level of competition, and the same level of preparedness that I have for every fight. Of course, I'm excited that I do get to, feel like I'm of value to BKFC, and I'm bringing eyes and attention to their organization, and they are growing so quickly, and for a reason. They're, an amazing fight organization. I'm happy that I get to bring some attention to their show.
I know it's early. It's going to be your second fight, but what have you liked so far about BKFC?
I love, boxing, I feel like, has kind of had a resurgence the last few years, and I do feel like this bare knuckle game has been a part of helping grow and get more attention onto boxing. Bare knuckle boxing is different just because it's just that there's no gloves involved. We're going out there at the rawest form of fighting, no gloves on, you're bare knuckle hitting each other. And the exciting part about it is truly only the toughest of the tough can survive in it, and only the toughest of the tough can do bare knuckle boxing. And you get to see like the technical boxing, but at the same time, you see every second of every round is exciting, and you have to be on your toes. You have to be your best self, because any one mistake could end the night for you. And, but it's a higher risk type of fighting, to where if you get hit, you could get cut open immediately. And I feel like just the added element of excitement has definitely helped it to grow so far.
Also on BKFC 19 is Hart, your opponent in your BKFC debut. What did you learn from that fight?
awesome fight for me. You know, I went in there and I feel like it couldn't have, of course, it could have gone a better way. I could have walked away with the win. But at the same time, I went out there and I put on a really good performance. I was able to learn as the rounds went. I got stronger and stronger as they went. I truly believe that there was one more round left and I would have knocked her out and finished her. And you see that playing the fight back, I just continued to grow. And now going into the second fight, you can only experience bare knuckle boxing by competing. You can't put in that work in the gym. You can't punch your opponents. They're training partners in the face without gloves on. So you require that in-ring experience to better yourself. So now going into the second one, there isn't that, I'm not unsure of myself. I'm not curious what's going to happen, or trying to feel things out and get a hold of the fight as the fight goes. Now I know exactly what to expect. I'm not carrying the weight of what's going to happen when I get hit. Now I know exactly what to prepare for. I know exactly what it's going to feel like. And I'm just going to capitalize off that awesome 5th round that I had in my last fight. And I'm going to continue to grow. So I am really excited to go into this fight with the experience that I have.
And that's interesting, because I was going to bring up that 5th round. That looked like your best round, and it looked like you were most comfortable in that 5th round. And even earlier in the fight, it looked like even when you went up to clench, you were clenching her, and she was very good on defensive punching. You would come in and clench her, and she would just start going punch, 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 punch while you were clenched. And then all of a sudden, the 5th round, it seemed like you backed off more and then just went at her, and it was a really strong 5th round. Did you feel that way too during the fight?
You know, bare knuckle boxing is a different type of fighting. It's different than MMA. It's different than street boxing. There's elements of it, especially in like that clinch game, that are more comparable to like amateur style boxing, where you just try to get points. You try to punch your opponent as many times as you can. It's not necessarily about having control. And coming from the MMA, Muay Thai style background, yeah, I feel like in the clinch game, I was trying too hard to get the control before, and you know, really there's certain like clinch moves that I was, you know, trying to utilize, whereas in bare knuckle boxing, it is just more important to throw as many punches as you can, hit your opponent as many times as you can, and all those punches equate to points. And I feel like, yeah, that was a learning experience for me. Now I know to utilize less of my like MMA style clinch game and really just focus on the like point style boxing.
Now you moved to South Florida, and you were training American TopTeam, but you trained somewhere else. Did you train for your first fight there, and then you're training somewhere else? Are you training at Mundo Boxing in Miami for this one?
I am. I'm at Mundo Boxing with Pedro Diaz.
Was it just for the fact that ATT is more MMA based and this one's more boxing based for the move, or was it just try something different?
I'm still a part of ATT. I feel like I'll always be a part of American TopTeam. But I felt it was important to utilize the straight boxing coach, especially stepping into this style of fighting. You know, it isn't just straight boxing. And I felt like I needed a straight boxing coach to help me with, like, that amateur point style of fighting. And Pedro truly has changed my game night and day. He's made me more confident in my straight boxing. Working in a boxing gym that's, you know, it's 100% specific to boxers. It's a different environment. It's a different world. You get to see what these high-level athletes are doing and what they're doing to win, and you see that, oh, I'm doing those same things. And you do, it's one, a physical advantage having somebody like Pedro as a coach, but it's also a mental advantage to know somebody like him believes in you and you're doing exactly what his students are doing and his champions are doing. So there's so many different elements that have, you know, created growth in my game just by being in Mundo Boxing.
And the growth of BKFC has been incredible, and fans are really taken to it. What are your thoughts of, because we've seen other fighters do this too, the crossover appeal, coming from MMA and going into bare knuckle fighting?
Yeah, you know, I think that for me, it was coming out of the UFC, I became a free agent, and I had an offer from the UFC. I had an offer from multiple other organizations, and when BKFC presented their offer, it was a extremely competitive offer, but beyond that, I think I was just excited about the opportunity. It seemed like a very exciting sport. You know, when I saw Artem Lobov have his fight, and it just kind of made waves throughout the world, right? How exciting it was, and how insane and how tough they were. And I just realized, I just feel like I put myself in that category. That's the kind of person I want to be. I want to be that kind of fighter. And now we have like Thiago Alves, who is my teammate at American TopTeam. He fights for BKFC, and the success that he's had and how tough he is. And I want to be a part of that category, the extremely tough and fight in your veins lifestyle. And I feel like that's what BKFC has, where you go there and you're a fighter. There's no question about it.
Hey, Paige, were you at the last event that was here near Hollywood at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino? Because they had, Yuli Monster Diaz and him had a tremendous battle.
I was there at that fight. They had some amazing fights going on, and of course that was the fight of the night for us. I highly respect Yuli and Thiago. Obviously, Thiago's a very good friend of ours, so we were extremely happy for him to walk away with the win. But the two of them had an absolute war, and I do feel like it was Thiago who really dug deep and had that inner fire that was able to win him that fight.
When you see something like that too, Paige, does that really get you going and exciting? Like, oh, geez, I want to be in there.
It absolutely does. I mean, especially with my fight coming up, it puts you in the element. It shows you exactly what you're here for. It's always fun to go to fights, but myself, I like to be the fighter. I like to be the one entertaining everybody. I like to feel like it's my show.
And you'll be going back to Tampa. That's near where, I guess, where you had your first fight. What is it like going back to that area of Florida?
It's great. You know, my husband and I are new to the Florida area. We just moved here about a year ago, and we're loving it. Every part of Florida. We love the weather. We love, you know, everything that Florida has to offer. We're really embracing it.
And also, Paige, will Bellator undefeated fighter Austin Vanderford be in your corner for this fight?
Yeah, my husband will corner me. I'll have Pedro Diaz. Is obviously my head coach and head corner. I'll have my husband, and then probably a third corner. We don't know who that'll be yet, but just another person to be there and support me. We're super excited. My husband to be as successful as he is, and to have him in my corner is really awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool that you both help each other out in that regard as well. It's a really nice combination there. And I'm curious too, Paige, after your last fight, did you take some time off before you went back, started training again? How did that go for you?
No, I feel like after a win or a loss, like especially after a loss, it's important you don't get your mind out of the gym. So, I mean, I walked back into the gym the Monday after. I paid my fees, and then I watched practice because I had to heal up a little bit. But you have to go straight back into it, especially after a loss. I feel like it's important to remind yourself who you are and what you're training for, and to know that one loss doesn't define you and one win doesn't define you. It's the process and continuing to grow through those growing pains. So no, I didn't take any time off. I got with my manager, I got with my coaches, and we game planned immediately for the next fight.
And Paige, a couple more questions, we'll let you go. I'm curious, what has it been like too, dealing with pandemic and then trying to get fans back to these shows and getting that excitement from the crowds?
I'm excited to have the crowd. You know, I absolutely love the energy of having a crowd there. That's, I feel like, been the hardest part about the pandemic. Luckily, we moved to Florida, so we're in like a free state, so it's been extremely nice. We're very lucky to live in a place like Florida. So we've been able to train, and we've been able to not have our lives affected quite as much as I feel like the rest of the world has. So we're very blessed, and especially in fighting, where we have a career where we can continue to work out. It's not necessarily guided by lockdowns and stuff. But I'm excited to have fans there. I think it's a really big deal, and I love the energy of having fans, so I'm excited it's here in Florida.
And then after a victory on Friday, July 23rd, BKFC 19, will you be taking some time off, maybe summer vacation? Will you guys be going anywhere?
Nope, no vacation for us. It goes one fight to the next. I'll be fighting July 23rd, and then my husband will be fighting for the Bellator title by the end of the year.
That's awesome. He's done so tremendous with Bellator and all. Hey, Paige, do you have any other ventures or projects or anything going on or coming up?
Yeah, so, right around our fight time, we're working on a reality series. It's called a Kickass Love Story. We've started it on YouTube, and then now we got picked up, and it's going to be professionally filmed and edited. So look out for our vlog series coming out around my fight. It's called the Kickass Love Story, and you can find it on YouTube. It's pretty much just like the behind the scenes of my husband and I being professional fighters in love, him being a Bellator fighter, me being a bare knuckle boxer, and kind of guiding the world and in what we do and how crazy life is.
So we'll see a lot of Fort Lauderdale and South Florida in there.
You will, yeah. Lots of new life in Florida, lots of traveling, fighting, cutting weight, all the behind the scenes, and then some love sprinkled in there too.
That's awesome. And then, almost done here, but are you an Olympics fan? Will you guys be watching the Summer Olympics or not really into that?
Oh, of course. We're a huge sports family. We watch pretty much all sports. I'm really excited to watch the Olympics, and I'm happy for the athletes that they finally get to, show off and compete. They've been held back for so long due to the pandemic, but I'm excited that they get to be back in their element.
And Paige VanZant, is WWE still an option?
WWE, AEW, they're both amazing organizations, and I've said this before, I would love to be a part of their promotion. I feel like the timing has to be right, though. What they do is it's such hard work and such talent. I feel like it's a full-time job, and I'm just not ready for that commitment right now in my career. But maybe when I'm retired from fighting, then I'll venture off into pro wrestling.
That is such a true statement. It is a full-time job. And now they're getting back to traveling. AEW was just here in Miami on Wednesday night at the James L. Knight Center. First time they were traveling back. And Dan Lambert, founder of American TopTeam, was actually involved in a segment and got beat up.
I watched that. I watched that. He did absolutely amazing.
It was incredible. And Amanda Nunes and Jorge Masvidal were there, and he takes over, gets in the ring. It was just phenomenal. And him and King Mo, they're really big into all that and all. And I'm glad you watched it. What are your thoughts of just that whole segment? Because it looked really bad for Dan. He did a great job.
He did a great job. Dan's absolutely amazing. I was excited to see that. King Mo actually does pro wrestling, and he's extremely talented at it. So it's kind of cool just to see worlds collide, and I was really happy that the AEW utilized, us athletes here in Florida, and they were able to show off some of the best fighters in the world, and Dan Lambert got to jump in too.
That is awesome. All right, Paige. Well, listen, thank you so much. Hey, do you have social media for your fans?
Yeah, of course. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Just type Paige VanZant. And then, of course, our YouTube channel is called A Kickass Love Story.
Paige VanZant, go get him. Thank you very much. BKFC 19 Friday, July 23rd. Florida State Fairgrounds in Tampa via FITE TV.